I am very often affiliative. I hit about the 95th percentile, and that poses some challenges for me. When I'm faced with a situation that requires a more stoic response, I have to step back and think about how do I do that? How do I remove emotion? This is where adaptability comes in. Regardless of my natural inclination to want to be liked, I can step outside my comfort zone and be less affiliative when I need to be. Once you have a grasp on your level of affiliation, the next step is to think about how and when you need to adapt. In this lesson, I want to help you identify the ways that you can adapt affiliation and how you can coach your team to do the same. Obviously, you're going to need to adapt differently depending on where on the affiliation scale you lie. So the first step in adapting is determining if, in fact, the situation calls for you to adapt. As someone that naturally falls into that often affiliative relator role, if I have a team that's experiencing interpersonal conflict or undergoing significant change, I'm not going to adapt. I want to rely on my natural inclination to build relationships and make people feel safe. If, however, I'm faced with a personal interpersonal conflict or have to reprimand somebody or be more confrontational, those are the times I need to decide how I'm going to move outside my comfort zone and adapt to be less affiliative. So if you're like me and fall toward the often affiliative end of the spectrum, you're going to have to adapt by removing emotions. One way you can do this is by reframing the conflict or the confrontation as necessary for a positive relationship. Tell yourself, I need to have this conversation so that we can have a better relationship going forward. Or part of my job as manager is to help them get better. Reframe the conflict as improving relationships is a great way to adapt your natural inclination for affiliation. Another useful adaptation is to put those relationships aside and instead focus on the tasks. Yes, relationships are important, but so is getting things done and moving forward. That's not to say that relators and motivators don't get things done. As a relator, I was able to get 2 master's degrees, open a restaurant, and parent a new baby all within 2 years. But to do that, I had to sacrifice some aspects of relationships. Those of you who fall toward the seldom affiliative end of the spectrum should always be aware of the effect that your interactions have on the people around you. A common area of needed adaptation is making sure that you're not unintentionally causing harm or making people think that you don't like them. One of the simplest things you can do is A, be open about your interaction style, so project your intentions, and B, set up check-ins to see how your team is reacting. You should also pay particular attention to the nonverbals of those around you and note when people take you in a way that you don't intend. With processors, make sure that you're not being pedantic and making people feel less smart. With producers, make sure that people feel that you care for them as much as you do for the task. If you're one of those people that falls in the middle somewhere, around the 50th percentile of affiliation, well, the beauty there is you've got a lot of range to play with. It's just a matter of reading the situation and deciding what that looks like for you and for your team. The ability to be affiliative is generally a good quality for all team members to have. You want teams filled with people who are able to be empathetic and care about others. But managing the balance is the sweet spot. When you do that, you're more likely to build a stronger team without sacrificing the human connection.